60% of the world is voting this year, and India, one of the biggest populations in the world, has just had its vote. The election has had staggering results, and it affects potentially the rest of the world. Let me explain. Just 3 days before the election, the polls indicated that Prime Minister Modi was going to have a complete landslide victory. But when it came to the polls, people voted for opposition parties, and now he's going to have to form a coalition. In other words, he's going to get other parties to join with him in order to be able to control the government. It means that you're going to get potentially another election in just a few years in India. Stock market fell 6%. Why would the stock market fall? Well, it's uncertainty. They thought that Modi was going to lead the country to victory, and his policies, which allow businesses to grow, were going to continue. But this equality that we're seeing in India, the fastest growing major market in the world, 8% growth in India. Imagine, it's a country growing faster than any other major country, and yet its population has voted against the Prime Minister. Why? Well, the reason is that you have the rich getting richer and some people aren't gaining. In fact, because of inflation right now, there's parts of the population that are losing out. In fact, the perception in America and other countries is that their governments aren't doing well. It doesn't bode well for Biden. It doesn't bode well for the Conservatives in the UK. It means that even if the country is doing well, the perception is that because many people aren't, there's inequality, that actually the country isn't doing as well as perhaps it should be. This, of course, means that people are unsettled. They're looking for change. And that's exactly what's happened in India. Of course, when we get change, as we have in India, this potentially causes an issue, a bigger issue. Because when you have a coalition where you don't have one leader, they're relying on opposition parties, you're likely to have another election. Some would say that perhaps that tempers his policies. Some would say that that means that he will have to do less things that are outrageous or extreme. But actually, when we look at it, we always know that stock markets tend to do well when there's certainty, when there's actually governments that are strong and controlling them, particularly ones that are in favour of businesses. So right now we're seeing the India vote. I would suspect that it's going to settle down the stock market once the coalition is formed. In other words, perhaps there's a buying opportunity right now because ultimately it will settle down and India will continue its growth. However, it does show you that you should always diversify. Also shows you that perhaps what's happening right now is that many different countries are going to be changing their governments. Let me know. Comment below. What do you think about the Indian election? And what do you think is going to happen in other elections this year around the world?